In level 3, we're going to use the midpoint and distance formula to solve other problems in other contexts that may involve geometry or algebra. So in this example, we want to find the area and perimeter of a rectangle. And we have the coordinates of its vertices, but we need to know the length of the line segments. So if I want the length of a line segment, say for example, I want to find the length of AD, I can use the distance formula to find that length. So I'm going to do that. For AD, I'm going to use the distance formula. Remember that the distance formula is the square root of, we subtract the x's, x1 minus x2, close the parentheses, square it, plus, and then we subtract the y's, y1 minus y2, close the parentheses, square it. Okay, so for the length of AD, I subtract the x's, -3 minus -2 squared, plus, then I subtract the y's, -1 minus -4 squared, and then I simplify. So we get in here -3 minus -2 is like -3 plus 2, which is -1 squared. And then -1 minus -4 is like -1 plus 4. So we get +3 squared. And -1 squared is 1. 3 squared is 9. So we get the square root of 10. And if you can simplify your radical, you should, but that can't be simplified. So for AD, we get the square root of 10. Okay, and BC is actually going to be the same because in a rectangle, opposite sides are congruent. So this is also going to be the square root of 10. But I need to find the length of AB now, or DC. They're going to be the same, so you could do either one, whichever one looks more fun. I'm going to do AB. So for AB, I do my giant square root, and I subtract the x's, so -3 minus 3, close the parentheses, square it, plus, then I subtract the y's, -1 minus 1, close the parentheses, square it, -3 minus 3 is -6 squared, -1 minus 1 is -2 squared, -6 squared is +36, and -2 squared is 4. Add those together, we get the square root of 40. And that one can be simplified, so I do my factor tree for 40. 4 times 10, 2 times 2, and 2 times 5. I have a pair of 2's that I can take out, so I get 2 square root of, I leave a 2 and a 5 inside, multiply them back together, 2 square root of 10. Okay, so I found the lengths of my sides, and now I can find the area and the perimeter of this rectangle. To find the area of a rectangle, area is length times width. So I'm going to multiply radical 10 times 2 radical 10. And when I multiply those together, I can multiply the radical parts together, and I get 2 radical 100. And the square root of 100 is a perfect square, it's just 10. So I get 2 times 10, which is 20. So the area of this rectangle is 20 square units. Okay, and then for perimeter, I just add up all the sides. So for the perimeter, I add up radical 10 twice, and 2 radical 10 twice, And remember, you can add radicals together if they have the same radical. This is like 1 radical 10, 1 radical 10, and you add the coefficients in the front. 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 gives us 6 radical 10. And there you go.